Trump says the partial government shutdown could last months or more than a year, although he hopes negotiations will be fruitful in coming days. But the president also says he's considering declaring a national emergency in order to build his border wall with or without Congress. The statements come on the day the stock market surged on higher than expected jobs numbers for December, and the Federal Reserve chair saying he will be patient with interest rate hikes. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Doug McElway is on Capitol Hill, where Democrats are firmly entrenched against the president's border wall. Correspondent Kevin Corke, though, starts us off tonight from the White House, where the president seems equally committed to his position. Good evening, Kevin.
Evening, Brett. Asked if he would consider those emergency powers to grant himself the authority to somehow fund the wall without congressional approval. The president said yes, he thought about it, and yes, he would do it if it came to that. Just the very latest twist in the ongoing debate about funding the wall and ending the partial government shutdown.
We can use them, absolutely. We can call a national emergency because of the security of our country, absolutely. No, we can do it. I haven't done it. I may do it. But we can call a national emergency and build it very quickly.
President Trump today on the heels of a 2-hour meeting with Democrats here at the White House.
We just completed a lengthy and sometimes contentious conversation with the president.
We had a very, very productive meeting.
Two viewpoints of a very important meeting with a singular purpose: to end the partial government shutdown.
I'm not saying it was an easy meeting or even a kind meeting or a nice meeting, but in the end, I think we've come a long way. We're going to be working very hard over the weekend.
It was the second such gathering this week of leaders from both parties in the Situation Room here at the White House. While neither side would share specifics about the conversations, the consensus was there's more work to be done.
The southern border is a dangerous, horrible disaster. We've done a great job, but you can't really do the kind of job we have to do unless you have a major, powerful barrier, and that's what we're going to have.
Our aim will be to find a solution, not just simply to end the government shutdown, to provide funding to end the crisis at our southern border, to achieve real border security, and to build a wall on our southern border.
The wall, the pillar of the president's promise to defend the border, and an absolute non-starter for Democrats, who vowed to stand pat until the president reopened the government.
We have a disagreement on the refusal of the president to open up the government.
But with the impasse now at 14 days and counting, the prospects of a quick solution seem considerably murky at best.
It's very hard to see how progress will be made unless they open up the government.
And I think I can speak for Republicans in the House and Republicans in the Senate. They feel very strongly about having a safe country, having a border that makes sense. Without borders, I've said it many times, we don't have a country. I hope it doesn't go on even beyond a few more days.
And the meetings, Brett, continued tomorrow, both at 11 and 1 o'clock, including the Vice President, Mike Pence, as they try to end the impasse. Another very quick note, senior administration officials, Brett, are set to receive $10,000 annual raises beginning tomorrow. And while today the Vice President said he would turn down his raise, the President said he would consider asking other senior officials to follow suit. Brett?
Kevin, you know, the president threatened to declare a national emergency to build the wall. So can he actually do that?
Well, listen, most people say no, he can't do that, Brett. But I think a better answer is it depends, because while legally he cannot, without congressional approval, say take money from one pot in the federal budget and move it to another to build a wall, other legal scholars always warn us about the broad nature of the president's powers under a national emergency. Either way, if he attempted to do so, it is a certainty that he would face a legal challenge from lawmakers and others.
Kevin Corke, live on the North Lawn. Kevin, thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. There is a new Congress here in Washington, but the government shutdown continues as before. The stalemate over border wall funding entered its third week. Each side is betting the other will give in first. Negotiations continue at the White House today, but apparently they bore no fruit, because afterward the president emerged to say the situation on our southern border is so grave he may be forced to build a wall without congressional approval.
Have you considered using emergency powers to grant yourself authorities to build this wall without congressional approval? And second,
Yes,
on
I have.
Mexico, you have.
Yes, I have. And I can do it if I want.
So you don't need congressional approval to build the wall?
No, we can use them. Absolutely. We can call a national emergency because of the security of our country. Absolutely. No, we can do it. I haven't done it. I may do it. I may do it. But we can call a national emergency and build it very quickly.
Well, Democrats call that extremism. But who are the extremists here? Well, the ones who refuse to defend their country. The new Speaker of the House has announced that the Democratic Congress will never, under any circumstances, allocate a single tax dollar to build the border wall. Not because it's too expensive, obviously, these are the Democrats, but because a wall would violate some previously unknown and never explained moral code. Watch.
The fact is, a wall is an immorality. It's not who we are as a nation. It's an old way of thinking.
Well, it's tempting to assume that the speaker must have misspoken there, but it's hardly the first time she has said that. Immoral, immorality. She's used those words repeatedly. Now, Pelosi is the highest-ranking Democrat in the United States. She's the leader of her party, so we should not blow this off. We should take it seriously. As a matter of policy, Democrats believe a border wall is immoral. And that raises the question, what do they consider moral? Well, American troops stuck forever in Syria, for one thing. That's just fine. Sex-selective abortions paid for with tax dollars can't get more moral than that. Antifa rioting in the streets, all perfectly virtuous. And it turns out even walls can be moral under the right circumstances. They just can't protect America. Democrats gladly signed off on border defenses for Jordan, Tunisia, and Israel. No problem. Glad to do it. But here, on behalf of our own people, no, Americans don't deserve that. They're immoral for asking. Those are the parameters of their morality. So what religion is this exactly? Joining us now to explain is Archbishop Chris Hahn. He's an attorney, radio host, and former aide to Senator Chuck Schumer, and he joins us tonight. So if you would, I think we've talked about this before. Nancy Pelosi has repeatedly called the wall immoral. And at first I thought, well, you know, she talks a lot, and I know the feeling. Sometimes you misspeak. But this is a talking point. This is something she's saying intentionally as the leader, now officially, of your party. So Democrats believe border walls are immoral. What does that mean?
I don't think she means it in the good versus evil type of morality, but rather this is a colossal waste of money since there's never been a ladder and a rope that hasn't beaten a wall.
Wait, I'm sorry. I will let you finish. I will let you finish, but I just want to back up. I promise. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to back up.
Yo.
What other sense of immoral is there? I mean, by definition, immoral describes something that is not moral. It is, again, by definition, within the scheme of morality. It's a religious precept. So what does that mean? How is a wall immoral?
Look, I mean, I don't think she means it in a good versus evil religious way. I think she means
what
it in
other way is there?
This is colossally stupid. This is a colossally stupid thing to build when a guy with a ladder that's a foot taller and a rope to get down the other side will beat it.
With
and
all
quite
respect,
frankly, to borrow the NRA's argument, though, if we put a wall up to block out illegal, people who come here to want to harm us. People who want to come here illegally are the only ones who are going to be stopped by that wall, because people who are going to come here illegally or come here to harm us are going to figure a way around it, just like they figure out a way to get guns.
They're going to get their own wall. I think I'm following you. So they're going to get their own wall. They're going to buy a wall on the black market and bring their wall to our wall and beat it? Is that what you're saying, just to continue the metaphor?
No. Law-abiding people will be stopped by the wall, but the people who wish to break our laws will avoid the wall, like they do. That's the right argument for everything. Is that true at prison?
That's the right
argument for guns. It's the right. It should be accepted here too.
Okay, I'm trying to take you seriously. Is that also true at prisons, which are surrounded by walls? Walls meant to keep lawbreakers in. Do they not work?
So, a prison is a couple of acres, and you've got sentries pointed that can monitor that wall. The president's talking about thousands of miles of wall. Are we going to have sentries every 100 feet to watch that wall? Look, we'd be better off, Tucker, we'd be better off with modern technology. We'd use drones. We could use other things to monitor the border, make sure it's backed up by the appropriate amount of Border Patrol.
I'm trying to be reasonable.
Not going to make sense.
We both know that you're in favor of more people coming here illegally, and I'm not, and that's the actual debate. But for the purposes of, we're pretending,
I'm not in favor of anybody
coming here
illegally.
We're both for border security. Of course we're not. But I just want to drill down a little bit on this idea of morality, because I think it's really important. When the leader of a political party starts calling the other side immoral, that's not a small thing. So I just want to understand, in the very same day that she said that, she pushed to allow taxpayer dollars from the United States to go abroad to fund abortions in Latin America, among other places. So you're saying it's immoral to keep Latin America out with a wall, but it's not immoral to pay for Latin American abortions? That's what Nancy Pelosi is saying. Do you agree with that?
Well, you know, I think we would need like a couple of hours to discuss the morality of actions
I mean, just the two of them.
Of choice.
Which is more immoral, building a wall or using tax dollars to pay for abortions in other countries? I'm just wondering.
I'm not going to. First of all, tax dollars do not pay for abortions in other countries under the Hyde Amendment, which we all know about. So they will never go that way, right? But I mean, debating whether or not that's moral or immoral, that's a longer conversation. We probably got about a minute and a half left.
I'm just wondering no, hold on. I'm not asking you to conduct theology here. I'm just asking you to give me your view. The two things, taxpayer money for sex selective abortions, which Nancy Pelosi is for, okay, or building a wall. One's immoral. Which one is it?
I don't believe that she's for sex selective abortions in foreign countries.
Yes, she
I think that's an overreach of what she's for. And look, I think the more moral use of the funding for the wall would be to fix the bridges and roads that are crumbling in this country that actually need repair, and spend a couple of bucks on Ring video doorbells for border security if you're really not worried about it. Because it's really not as big of a problem as the president. What's immoral is the president making a problem that doesn't exist.
Okay. So, really quick, at the very same time, again, that she was pushing against America's ability to defend itself and its borders and for more taxpayer-funded abortions in other countries, she was also pushing for more foreign aid for other countries, some of which would go to border security. We've already funded, with her approval, border security, including walls in a bunch of other countries. Why were those not immoral, but our wall is immoral?
Well, you know, when we talk about the Israeli wall and other countries that have walls like that, they are in a constant state of war with their neighbor. We are not in a state of war with Mexico. We are not having a crisis at the border. People are not lobbing bombs into our country from Mexico. In fact, they're our biggest trading partner.
Right. I understand that. And there are a number of barriers in Israel, and some of them are designed to keep terrorists from coming in, and I don't think anyone would question the right to do that. Good for them.
Right.
But there's also a barrier on the southern border of Israel with Egypt that is designed solely to keep immigrants from Africa out of their country. Now, I think it's Israel's right to build that wall. I would never contest that. I don't have a problem with it. But Nancy Pelosi doesn't have a problem with it either. That wall's not immoral. But our wall is immoral. I honestly don't understand that. What is the answer?
You know, we're a nation of immigrants. It's what makes this country great. It's what refreshes this country and gives us a competitive edge with the rest of the world. If the president and his party want to change that, that should be what they talk about. But what they're doing right now is demagoguing about some invisible threat that does not exist at the southern border. And it's time for them to stop and face reality and open the government and have a conversation about real border security.
How many people are here illegally now in the United States? Do you know?
I would think over 10 million. Between 10 and 14 million.
Try over 20, which is the latest estimate, and not from some right-wing organization, but from Ivy League researchers. Does that seem like a lot? Does that seem like the current border security schemes are working to you? Over 20 million people?
It seems like a lot. And it seems like a lot. And 90% of those people, Tucker, did not cross the southern border. They overstayed a visa.
How do you know?
They may have come here on a plane or a boat.
How do you know that? You don't even know within 10 million how many are here. How do you know how they got here?
Because I wasn't prepared for that question, but every Ivy League study that I've read shows, every Ivy League study that I've read about this topic says that exact same thing, that most people who are here illegally have just overstayed their visas. And building a wall at the southern border is not going to change that. It's just a colossal waste of money. And if you believe a waste of money is immoral, then it's immoral.
How they got here, we're just guessing it's not going to work. Okay, maybe you're right. We'll see. Chris, thank you very much.
All right.